Good afternoon. Welcome to Lancaster Connects, the show about small business and small charity success in Lancaster County. We highlight the best and the most interesting that Lancaster has to offer, showcase the battle on Main Street, big versus small, David versus Goliath, if you will. Again, showing what makes Lancaster so great. As you can see, it's just me. Jeff has been replaced by a book with his name on it. Say hello, Jeff. He doesn't want to talk today. No, Jeff is out of town. He's moving about the country, if you will, really making an impact with some of our vendor partners and connecting the dots on a lot of the different projects that we got going on here at Gardner's Mattress and More. Right now, he's in Las Vegas at the industry trade show that happens twice a year. And he and I were talking this morning about some new products that we're going to be putting onto the showroom floor. And, since I mentioned the showroom floor, the background might look a little different. We're in a new location in the showroom. I can't turn the camera to show you what's else is going on, but we teased a few weeks ago that we had a painting project going on, and you really should visit if you're a customer and you're watching, or never visited and want to visit. You should come take a look, because if you've been in the showroom before and you've seen, I think it always looked nice, but we've been here for 12 years and the paint was a little old. There were some marks on the wall from various things that we've had on the wall over the years, and different paint schemes or themes in different parts of the showroom. So it was kind of a mishmash, if you will, of colors in the showroom. Now the painting is done. It took 2 weeks. Shout out to Two Dudes Painting. We had Tony Kirkner from Two Dudes on in the spring. Two Dudes is a fantastic company. The crew that was here, can't say enough good things about the work and the effort they put in. We had a wall of death, we called it, that had a bunch of stickers on it, and it needed a major patch job. But it's now painted over and fixed, and you can't tell the horrors that were what it was before. But the showroom looks fantastic. It's a nice light gray on the wall behind me and around the showroom. Back of the showroom, we've got a new Tempur-Pedic display that we're going to install later this week. It really, really is classy looking. And we've got some other surprises coming to the showroom. Some things we're doing with our displays, really making this place look super fantastic. I think up to the level of service and products that we offer here at Gardner's Mattress and More. So please visit, take a look, walk around the showroom. I think it looks fantastic. So shout out to Two Dudes. They did a great job. Just a few notes. You can watch this. If you're watching it now, you're watching it on Facebook or YouTube, or possibly a LinkedIn channel at both Gardner's Mattress and More and the Lancaster Connects pages for across Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn. There's Jana, super fan Jana Hoover Green. Change is hard, but you know what? And I should give a shout out to our team. We did a lot in here. We moved almost every mattress in the showroom around. So our service team, delivery and service team, and our sales team, we had a lot going on in the last couple of weeks, right, Drew? Indeed. So kudos to them. They did a fantastic job. Change is hard, but change is good too. So, we're not changing who we are and what we do. We're just changing maybe what we look like to kind of match that experience. So, I see Adrian. Thanks for checking in. It's a good segue. Commenting, and we've now got 3 comments. Look at this. Commenting and liking the posts and whatnot enters you into our contest. And conveniently located over here, we've got our less snore, more cuddle hydro flask and tumblers. Your choice of one of those 2 great gifts, or a restaurant gift card, $25 restaurant gift card to a nice restaurant in Lancaster County. We got a bunch of restaurants handpicked and ready to go here. So if you're our winner, we'll spin the prize leader at the end. And if you're our winner, you can come in and pick out one of these great gifts or the $25 restaurant gift card. Yes, leveling up. Thanks, Jana. Man, I can always expect comments from Jana Hoover Green and Amy. Amy's a super fan as well. So thanks for tuning in. without further ado, I've got a fantastic guest for today. She actually, I'm meeting her for the first time today, which is a shame because we have a lot of mutual friends and people that we're connected to and our businesses are connected to. But I'm thrilled to have her on. You're going to meet Lancaster's homegirl, Christina Diehl. So welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah. Well, so we'll do our normal thing here. We've got some questions about the Lancaster homegirl and another venture that you've got going on, the Money Girl, and then we'll talk. We'll do our connection cocktail at the end where we'll learn a little bit more about you. But just as an introduction, you're a Lancaster native, is that right?
Yeah, born and raised in Lidditz. My whole family still lives in Lidditz. I'm the furthest one away, the whole 8 miles south into Lancaster City. So
you defected.
Yeah, they were like, "You're moving where?"
Yeah, right. That's right. So are you in Lancaster City now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I first moved here, I guess it was in 2005, thinking that eventually I would move back to Lidditz, but then I just fell in love with the city. So yeah, I'm in like the Chestnut Hill area of Lancaster City.
Okay. Very nice. Very nice. I live pretty much in between the two. I'm like just south of the Lancaster airport. So
Nice.
I think I have the best of both worlds. I can be like 10 minutes or less into Lancaster City and less than 10 minutes to Lidditz. And there's so much cool things going on in both cities. I don't get a lot of time with kids and a new puppy to get out and do stuff. But,
Yeah.
Every time I drive through Lancaster City, there's like a restaurant or a new gallery or new thing that's popped up. And I think the same thing can be said about Lidditz too. Really two neat cities and communities to have grown up in and to currently live in. That's cool.
For sure. Yeah, I think I'm very fortunate.
Yep. Yeah. Well, and I think Lancaster Countyans, is that the right word, are fortunate in general to have these really
Sure.
neat and unique communities really across the county. So, a Lidditz native, you're a Warwick graduate, I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm. Yep, Warwick, 1999.
99. That's funny. I did. So I'm a mattress retailer and I've been so for 22 years. But I did. I actually have a music education degree that I've never used. And so this is interesting. In 1999, I believe the fall of 1999, I did my student teaching at Warwick High School or Warwick School District. So that was across high school band and chorus. If you were in high school band and chorus, we might have crossed paths then.
Well, if it was fall of 99, that would have been right after I graduated, right?
Okay, right. If you graduated, that's right. Yep.
That
So
would have been crazy.
it was the year after that. So it was across elementary, middle school, and high schools. But that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Warwick is a great school. We sat on the Warwick High School lawn and watched the fireworks on July 4th. So
Yeah, awesome.
yep. So all right, enough introduction. Let's dive into. I've always been curious. The Lancaster homegirl name. I think it's unique and cool. How did that come about?
Yeah, it was early on in my real estate career. I was meeting with a new lender, Mark Ponce, and if you're familiar with him, he just has a very...
I know Mark.
Yeah. He's got a great marketing mind and very creative. And I think in our first meeting, he was just like, he's like, "You're like Lancaster homegirl." And I was like, "What?" Like, I didn't necessarily like it at first. I didn't think it sounded professional enough.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of grew into a thing. He kind of put some branding behind it for me and really helped me out. And it took on a life of its own to, people still just kind of call me homegirl as opposed to Christina sometimes. And just worked out really well. Yeah, it's fun.
That's so cool. So did you advertise in Find Living Lancaster in Mark's publication or?
Yeah, I was in there a couple times. Yeah.
Yep, that's cool. We haven't been in there in a while, but we advertised in there pretty heavily. Wrote a monthly, or I guess quarterly article. It's probably going back 8 to 10 years ago that we were with Mark. But yeah, Mark's super cool. He was a guest a handful of months ago on Lancaster Connects. But that's really neat that it just kind of came out of like, it's not something you created. It was just like said, and like then it took on a life of its own, right?
Right. Yeah.
I think it's funny that people call you homegirl and like, you're Christina, but you're like Lancaster homegirl. Like,
Yeah, I
that's
love
how
it.
people know you. It's neat. It's so cool. So real estate, how long have you been selling homes?
I started in 2010. So pretty much the worst time possible.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right.
It was literally, I think I got licensed like a week after that $8,000 federal tax grant that they were giving out to
My
people that bought
gosh.
homes. So anyone who was going to buy a home had already bought a home. And here I
Right.
am like, hey guys, I'm a realtor now. So it's been, just a journey of it continuously, progressively getting better over the years since I started out at the lowest point possible.
Yep.
So it was a good way to learn how to really do real estate when things were slow. And then it just continued to get better year over year.
Yep. Yeah. I bought my first house in 2006, and that was kind of like at the height of the pricing market. Well,
Yep.
except for now, but back then.
Right.
So I bought up here, and then 2008, 9, 10, whatever. It was like, and then the house.
Yeah.
We had a 5-year plan on the townhouse, and that turned into 10 years because the house value was down here, and basically ended up renting the house. It seemed for 10 years until we were actually able to sell it. But I know exactly what you're talking about in that time of starting out. So what did you? 2010, 11, just getting started, what did you have to do to kind of stand out? Like what made people want to work with you either to buy or sell a house?
Yeah. Well, I think I made the decision for myself right away that I didn't want to buy leads or even really prospect. I didn't want to do anything that made it feel like people were just a number to me, just trying to drum up business that way. So I made the conscious decision of building my business through referral only. So I made it my job to build relationships with people and just meet people and go to every networking event possible. That's all I did. I just went and met people and built relationships. And over time, so I think it took a little bit longer to get my real estate business really up and running, but to me, it was up and running in a better way because it took time to have enough people feel confident referring me to their friends and family. But at the same time, then everyone that I was working with, there was already a level of trust, and it just made the job even easier. So I'm really glad I did it that way, even though it was kind of slow going at first.
Yeah, absolutely. In a lot of ways, you're talking very similar language to the way we speak and think about things here at Gardner's Mattress and more. Most mattress stores, chains and whatnot, customers are just numbers. They flood the market with advertising, try to get as many people in the doors as possible, sell as many mattresses as possible. And yeah, I mean, you're going to do a bunch of business maybe that way, but is it the right kind of business, especially the type of business that's going to refer and recommend and all that? And, we've been around for 32 years. And the first, 10, 15, even 20 years of the business, it kind of feels like a slow grind in a way.
Yeah.
But, once you establish that relationship with people, I think 65% of our business, that last time we checked, probably a year ago, 65% of our business comes from word of mouth, friends and family, coworkers, just people spreading the word, people that have seen the reviews, all that. So it takes time to build, but it's absolutely the right way to do it because like you said, the people that you're talking to, they've already got some level of trust with you. That's fantastic.
Exactly. Yeah.
So what do you, so I guess there's two sides of real estate, right? There's people buying homes and people selling homes. Is there a side that you like better? Or are they both kind of like equal?
I feel like it depends on the specific transaction. They're all so different. So it just depends. I really like helping people buy property because, I mean, for a lot of reasons, I just think it's one of the best financial decisions that people can make. And it sets them up for a healthier financial future and just so many positive things. So I really like helping people find either the home that they're living in or their investment properties. It just kind of gets me excited that they're making a strong decision for their future. But also listing homes is fun because you get to take all the pictures and do the marketing and make it exciting. And I don't know if I could pick a favorite really.
Yeah. Do you ever go into a situation where you have to do a lot of work to get a house ready to go? Tell the homeowner, hey, you got to do this, this, and this, and this.
Yeah. Well, and that varies too, because you have to be able to explain the difference between okay, if we list it like this, here's what your proceeds are going to look like if you put some time and effort into it. And then sometimes they don't even want to put the time and effort. And sometimes they're like, okay, let's take some time and do this right. So
Yep.
it's, yeah, every home is a different story. And that's part of what I love about real estate. It's never boring, it's every day is a different thing.
That's cool. So here comes a question. Jessica looks like coming through on Facebook. What area of the county would you say is the fastest growing? That's a great question. Thanks, Jessica.
That is a great question. I would say probably, oh man, fastest growing. That could mean a lot of different things, I suppose.
True.
But
Yeah.
people are clamoring to get into Lidditz. It's really hard to buy properties in Lidditz right now, and I think also Lancaster is really growing and expanding as it has been for a few years. In the city specifically. So off the top of my head, those would be the two places that I would say are the most in demand.
Yeah. That's interesting. We're kind of on like the back end of the end of your transaction with a new home buyer. Because a lot of times when people move or buy a new house, they need a new mattress, right? Why move the old mattress to the new house when you can get a new mattress? So we're kind of on the back end of that, and we have a lot of deliveries going into the Mount Joy area. Just seems to be a lot of new neighborhoods there. Definitely Lidditz. But that kind of Mount Joy to Elizabethtown corridor just seems to be booming as well.
That is, yeah, lots of new construction going on right there. Yep. That's a good point.
Yep. What other advantage might you provide your clients either in buying a house or selling a house? What can the Lancaster Homegirl offer that maybe other realtors can't? Obviously you have your 12 plus years of experience. But what else do they get with Lancaster Homegirl?
I think a couple things. Well, I'm fun to work with. That's most important. Of course. But no, I mean, I've been interested in real estate since I was 10 years old and have been, learning about investing in real estate and investing in it myself. So I feel like the knowledge that I bring to a transaction, especially on the buy side in that regard, is helpful to my clients. As far as listing homes, I do unique things. I have a pretty good social media presence, but I also do, mailers to the neighborhood of the property, and social media boosts for the specific properties for each of one of my listings. A lot of kind of unique marketing that is catching on more and more, but I'd be sure to be consistent with all my listings to make sure that they're getting as much marketing as possible.
That's cool. And you're across a few different social channels, so like Facebook, Instagram, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Those are the main ones. Yeah.
I got to imagine that a realtor that's been able to figure that out can succeed, because when you have, incredible photos about a beautiful house that you're trying to sell, and you can get that out there to as many eyeballs as possible, that just boosts what you're doing there. That's awesome.
For sure.
Another question that's I see coming in, it's not on the screen yet, but it's in the background. There it is. Thanks, Jessica, again for the question. Is flipping homes popular in Lancaster?
Very much so. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I thought so. Yep. More so in Lancaster City or Lidditz or both?
They're everywhere. Yeah. A lot of people are flipping homes. I guess I see it a lot in Lancaster. Yeah, maybe there's just more opportunities in Lancaster to flip homes, but there's homes being flipped all over the county, more rural areas. And yeah, there's a lot of investors that see, good opportunity right now and have been really plugging away at it.
Yeah. I mean, if you're buying, especially now, like you bought a property, like maybe 2 years ago when home values were maybe a little lower. And then of course, as you're, flipping the house and redoing it, now the home values are up here. I guess that had to be super lucrative for a lot of people that were doing that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yep. So, obviously, I mentioned 2 years ago, the really 2.5, whatever it is, the pandemic, affected every industry everywhere. But, I got to imagine real estate was one of the hardest hit, and probably one of the industries that changed or had to evolve the most. You couldn't go on showings, and
right.
The list of things that you couldn't do during the pandemic. How did you navigate that, and how did things change for you?
Well, yeah, there were a few months there, and without any real end in sight. We didn't know when we were going to be allowed to work again, but the Pennsylvania government shut down real estate. We weren't allowed to work. So so I was fortunate. I even had a friend reach out that was like, "Are you okay? Like, you can't make money right now?" And I was like, "No." I was like, "I have passive income. Like this, goes back to my real estate investment." When everything shut down for the pandemic, I was like, "Oh, this is what I was preparing for." Like I didn't
Yeah.
have to worry about the fact that I couldn't work at the time because I had money coming in from my real estate investments. So so that was fine. It was more so just frustrating being, watching my clients, some of which were even like under contract and couldn't settle or couldn't get their
So
inspection. And it just,
unbelievable.
yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. Like housing wasn't considered a necessity or whatever the term
Right.
was,
Neither was a mattress.
a
So
mattress. So yeah, that was just kind of frustrating and hard to watch people not have housing or worry about where their housing, what was going to happen with it. But then once things opened back up, what we've seen is just things have been much more streamlined. We had to figure out ways to do settlements more remotely and more efficiently.
mhm.
People learned how to do like video home tours better,
Yep.
and just more software and resources and things like that came into play with having to distantly show a home or things like that we still use. And so it did a lot of good things happen to the real estate industry in response to the limitations that we had for a while there due to the pandemic.
Like most businesses, you had to get a little creative, right?
Hmm.
It's kind of neat to see, obviously it was a challenge to go through, no matter what business or industry you're in, it was a challenge to go through what everybody went through and
Hmm.
continue to deal with on some day-to-day level. But there's a lot of things that have come out of the pandemic that I think are really, really fantastic.
Yep.
You mentioned the virtual home tours. We're working with a company now that got started doing virtual tours where you can, kind of go through a house and like click on things, that they've done a video scan and you can click on things and things pop up. Or we're doing the
Nice.
same thing here in our showroom. So somebody can go through and do a virtual appointment, a mattress appointment, and as if they were in the showroom, they can do it from home. So we've got something in the
That's
works that
fun.
was kind of, started in the real estate thing, but we're kind of bringing it into um, what do we do here? Retail.
Nice.
The word
What do
escaped
we
me.
do?
What am I doing? Retail. So
That's
you
great.
mentioned passive income is a good segue to your other venture, the Money Girl. So how did that come about?
Well, I started the book before the pandemic.
Okay.
I had started making, I guess, good financial choices for my life at a young age. And had set myself up, obviously, by being able to buy rental properties and things like that, to the point that I guess once I got into my 30s, I really started to notice people around me being like, man, I wish I knew what you knew. I wish I knew. I wish I knew. Like, finding themselves in kind of like, well, reaping the, not the benefits, but
Hmm.
of their financial mistakes that they had made early in life, and
Right.
realizing like, man, I have to dig myself out of this first before I even start building wealth. And and that's what kind of made me realize, oh, I had a financial education that most people don't get. And when you're growing up as a kid, you think, oh, this is just what everybody learns. You don't realize that it's unique. And so when I realized how fortunate I was to have learned these things at a really young age, I started to think, man, someone needs to start teaching kids this. I was like, I don't want to, 20 years from now, have people that are 17 now wake up and think, man, I wish someone had told me this when I was 17 about how to look at money and use money
Yeah.
and just all that stuff. So I was like, man, someone should write a book. And I am not a writer. I'm just I don't know. I never ever thought I would write a book. It wasn't anything that was on my bucket list or anything. But after a while,
Right.
I was like, I bet that my story, like my experience, could possibly benefit some young people, that they could see, hey, this is possible. And I do have options, different than just living in debt. And that's not normal, and stuff to just make kids think about money in a different way, hopefully.
That's so cool. I think often we have a story to tell that's up here. And yeah, you sit down to write a book. It's not something maybe you set out to do, but like
Right.
your wealth of experience across, your real estate career and the lessons you learned and the knowledge you have. Yeah, that's definitely a story. So, you say, or you said you learned some of these financial lessons early on. Where did you learn these lessons?
Well, primarily my dad. I mean, our household was very, I guess, financially conservative from I don't even remember how young, but it was just instilled in us that you don't spend more than you make, and seems like common sense, but I feel like maybe for a lot of kids or young adults, unless you really spell that out, they just look at it as normal to use credit cards and use loans for things that you don't really need. And that's spending more than you make. So, so I think that was really helpful to just have that. There was no question in my life I wasn't going to spend more than I made. And then I think on top of that, I used to help my dad. He was a landlord. He still is. But when I was young, when I was like 10 even, I would go and help my dad work on properties because I thought it was fun. I liked learning how to use power tools and spend
Yeah.
time with my dad and all that stuff. And so while we were there is when he really started to explain to me about how being a tenant works and how being a landlord works. And doesn't it sound better to be the person that owns the property with people paying you to live there as opposed to being the person that's paying for someone else's mortgage essentially?
Yep.
And I was like, well, yeah, it sounds really good to be a landlord. And so that's when I first became interested in real estate. And yeah, and then so that's where my financial education came from. I think mainly just conversations that my dad didn't even realize that he was giving me such a benefit. I think this is just what he liked to talk about. And it was just kind of like second nature to him. So yeah.
That's awesome. You're very fortunate to have that experience and knowledge passed down. So your book, a combination of those early life lessons and combined with your real estate knowledge and investing knowledge, is that what the book is about, or is there more behind it?
So the book is really, the intention is to really just get young people talking more about money and understanding that there are options. So I touch on a lot of different things. And it all harkens back to being intentional with your money, not wondering where your money went, telling your money where to go. And so real estate does come into it at a couple different points throughout the book, just because that's my life. And I think that's one of the best investments that anybody can make. But I didn't want the book necessarily to be about real estate. It's about,
Right.
Empowering young people and showing them the benefits of financial freedom, not the how you become financially independent or even just, financially secure, but also why. And the fact that being generous and being able to be abundantly generous doesn't come by not, counting your pennies and being fiscally conservative or being just really smart with your money. If you want to be able to bless others in your community or even have the time to spend volunteering at organizations and things like that, you kind of have to have a little bit of financial freedom, and you have to sacrifice, probably earlier on in life to have more passive income or more income later in life, to be able to do good in the world.
Right. Your book has a target audience. I mean, obviously young people, but I think specifically young women as well, right? Talk a little bit about the focus there.
So there's a couple reasons why I decided to kind of niche down and have it be more of a young female demographic. One is that I got tired of hearing it being in the real estate world, hearing some young buyers say, "Oh, my parents told me not to buy. They said, wait till I get married and buy a house, with my husband." Or people thinking girls thinking I don't need to worry about money. My husband will take care of that.
Right.
And I think that's really, really bad advice for, I hope, obvious reasons. So I wanted young women to see, like, no, here's why you should take control of this early on. And you'll just, if and when you do get married, you'll be in an even better position financially. Also, I really want this book to kind of be a foot in the door or just a stepping stone into getting in front of young women
Mm-hmm.
to have some, credibility, like, hey, I'm a published author, to be able to start conversations, and hoping that it, maybe not being a co-ed environment, it would be a more safe place where they feel more open to talk about these things and really be able to learn. So there's been plenty of guys that have read this book and say that they learned a lot from it, and that it doesn't even seem like it's just for girls. But just the look of the book and everything, I feel like is kind of just, it feels, I don't know.
Yeah.
I could go into it, but hope that
That's
makes
great.
sense.
Yeah. I mean, the lessons in the book can be applied to anybody, really, probably at any stage of life. But you have a niche for young readers and specifically female readers. At what age did you kind of target the book to? Is it like teenagers, high school students, women in their early 20s?
Loosely, like, I was hoping to get it into the hands of high schoolers first and foremost, because a part of the book talks about how student loans can really impact your future negatively, and to really think about, getting a college education and what that student debt is going to look like, and maybe finding other ways to pay for it rather than just loans and things like that. So I'm like, okay, so high schoolers need to read this before they get that student loan debt. But also, if you're already in college, there's things that you can learn from it, just even about, paying your debt off faster, or not opening those credit cards that they try to just like throw at you on every college campus. So, but I
don't think they're allowed to do that anymore. Is that right? I thought somebody told me that, like,
I hope not.
So many kids got in trouble with, like, or maybe it was like free things that you're giving away to get a new credit card in your name. Sorry, I cut you off there.
I mean, that would be great if that's true, because I mean, I know people personally that really got into credit card trouble because of that.
Yeah,
and not understanding the implications of what they were doing.
Yeah. Oh, $5,000 credit card. That means I have $5,000.
Yeah.
I could buy all these used CDs and Strombolis, and that's what I did in college. But
CDs and Stromboli.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, I mean, it was the mid to late 90s. That's what was hot then. Yeah. So I mean, these lessons are so crucial. I mean, I know personally, coming out of high school and then going into college. Yeah, I wasn't fiscally responsible, and most people I was around didn't have a clue about how money worked. And I think this is so invaluable, getting in the hands of high schoolers, and
even middle schoolers.
Yeah,
my nephew's 13 and he read it already. And a friend of mine's daughter, I forget how old she is, but she's probably like 12 or 11, and she read it as well. So
that's great.
Never too young. Yeah.
My daughter just turned 13, like a couple weeks ago. So I am going after this. I'm going to go get a book.
Good. Thank you.
To her. She's a voracious, is that the right word, reader? So she'll probably finish it in a day and a half. She's got like all summer, right?
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I hope she likes it.
I had her on the show today.
Awesome.
So so I mean, these lessons are fantastic. You mentioned getting it into the hands of high schoolers, and I understand you have some upcoming gigs or speaking engagements. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, there's a couple libraries that I'm going to be speaking at and just doing kind of like small seminars. It's a teen talk, so it's specifically for younger people. Another one is for adults, just to educate them about what they can be doing with money as well. I've just been reaching out to different venues. I'm speaking to a church youth group in October.
That's perfect.
I'm kind of just open to anything that gets me in front of kids or anybody that could benefit from this. So.
My daughter, she's going into 8th grade, as I mentioned her. 7th grade, she had some home ec classes. I know they're not called home ec classes anymore. I forget what they were called. Yeah, but she actually had some financial education in that. And I don't ever remember that when I was at school as being part of it. You made
I remember learning how to write a check.
Okay, right.
And stuff like that. But we were never talked to about debt or compounding interest or things that actually matter.
Yep. I know my daughter had a project where they were given 10 or 20 beans or something. And then you had to put the beans in different places. Like the beans represented money, and, you had to buy a home and a car and do this and that, actually make life decisions with these beans, and
Nice.
you get at least a value of in your head of, well, yeah, I can't have this $1 million house because that takes 19 of my beans away, or whatever it is.
That's
So
great. That's
yeah,
really helpful.
yeah. I would think schools would be a target place for people. You can get it into some schools to get in front of groups of young women. I think that would be fantastic. That would be an awesome
I agree.
opportunity.
And I've been kind of looking into the best way to go about doing that. I don't know if I should reach out to individual districts or talk to the Department of Education in Harrisburg.
Sure.
You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
that's definitely something that I want to look into doing.
I would think even Warwick, the fact that you're a graduate, had Lancaster experience all your life, and you've written this book, I would think that would be like, they would. I mean, I don't know how schools work.
Me neither.
From that, inviting the public in to speak, but like I would think,
Right.
like they should eat that up. I mean, this is like invaluable education for their students. Kind of wrapping up here. If somebody wants to work with the Homegirl or the Money Girl, how can they do that?
Yeah, well, LancasterHomegirl.com is my real estate website. ChristinaDiehl.com is my author website. And I'm easy to find on Facebook and Insta and everywhere. So
Just type
yeah,
in the
reach out
Homegirl, the
anytime.
Money Girl.
Yeah. I once did an entire real estate transaction through Facebook Messenger. Like I didn't
Okay.
even realize that I didn't have my client's phone number because we just talked through Messenger.
Oh, that's so funny. Hey,
was great.
That's a new age of
That's how it,
communication.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, and you're harnessing the power of social media and other platforms for good there. And the book. How can somebody get the book? Obviously, you have the website.
Yeah, it's on Amazon, but you can even just go to ChristinaDiehl.com and click buy the book, and it'll take you to the Amazon page. Yeah.
Okay. That's
buy it.
awesome. And so you can get it for Kindle, and you can also request or purchase
paperback.
paperback as well. Yep.
Both options.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if somebody wanted a little taste of the book, I think you even offer that on the site as well. You can download a chapter or something like that.
Right. Yeah. There's one chapter that's downloadable on ChristinaDiehl.com.
Okay. Very cool. And there it is. In fact, Chris is doing some reading in the background, it appears.
He's learning a lot.
Yes, he is. He is. Well, that's awesome. Thanks so much for sharing about the Homegirl and the Money Girl. We've got a lot of comments, and it inspired some questions. In fact, I think there was another question that maybe we could have you answer. Jessica, there it is. What is the best home improvement to your home you can do? Is it still kitchens and bathrooms? That's a good question. Back to the Homegirl side of things.
Right. Yeah. That's what people are looking for. Updated kitchens and bathrooms. Again, this is one of those things where it is a case-by-case basis. It depends on the property, but by and large, those are the investments that are going to get you the best return, kitchens and bathrooms.
Okay. Yep. There's a lot of things you can do to the house, but I guess if you're going to spend it somewhere, that's the best place to do it. And
right.
Jessica is hot on the questions here. Any plans for selling it at local bookshops like Aaron's Books and Lidditz?
That would be awesome. And no, I haven't gotten around to really looking into that yet. So far, it's just Amazon. I looked into doing it at Barnes and Noble, and that's just a bit. I think that's
I can imagine that's
not going to happen. So yeah, I should talk to local bookstores.
Yeah, there's got to be. I mean, there's probably a local bookstore in almost every community. Even the libraries. I'm sure the libraries would love to.
Well, I did. I donated my book to all 17 libraries in Lancaster County,
cool.
So people can go get it there for free. Yeah,
that's awesome. Very cool. Very cool. Well, Jessica.
Thanks.
Well, Christina, thanks for sharing, and Jessica, thanks for the questions there.
Yeah.
So we'll wrap up the Homegirl, Money Girl stuff, and we'll learn a little bit more about Christina. I think we know Christina much better than we did 40 minutes ago. But we'll get a little personal here with our connection cocktail question. Got a
all right.
fun splashy graphic. There we go. Chris is in the background. Chris is our podcast producer. Chris Stone, fantastic podcast producer. If you ever need a producer of a podcast, Chris is your guy. I think there's music coming at some point for the connection cocktail. So this is my way of reminding Chris that I'm expecting music. So you're a lifetime Lancaster resident. And I know it might be hard for you to narrow it down to one favorite thing to do in Lancaster, but if you could, what would it be?
Favorite thing to do in Lancaster? I mean, my favorite thing to do anywhere is go out to eat or go grab drinks with friends.
Sure.
I'm a big foodie.
All right. So that's kind of the follow-up question. And you can name multiple places, that's fine. But do you have a few favorite places you like to go?
So it's hard for me to pick favorites because it's just, taste is ever changing, I suppose.
Yep.
I usually get obsessed with just new places that open up. So right now it's Proof.
Oh, what's that?
I don't know if you...
No,
it's
I don't.
down
Proof.
like in a basement on Queen Street. And it's this little like amazing cocktail bar with a few small plates. And
that's awesome.
It's just awesome. Double C. I've been going to a lot. Oh, what?
Where's Proof on Queen Street?
Like half a block north of the square.
Okay.
Right below Details, if you know where that store is.
Oh, wow. Never knew it existed. That's cool.
But
See,
and
this is why Lancaster Connects is so fun. We learn new restaurants. And what was the other restaurant you mentioned? Or other place?
Double C. It opened up on Prince Street, like right before everything shut down for the pandemic. But I'm so glad that they made it through. It's the same owners as John J. Jeffrey's, which is also an amazing restaurant.
Awesome. Farm to table.
So yeah, those are kind of like newer places that I love. And then of course there's ones that have been around forever that are also so great. So
yep. Yeah. Like I said, every time I turn around or, go through Lancaster City, there's something new going on down there.
Yeah.
All right. So that was question 1. Question 2, I think you'll have an answer for number 3. When you bring family, well, your family's in Lancaster and Lidditz, right? But, people from out of town, friends, other families, you're bringing them into Lancaster and you want to impart something from Lancaster on them. What would that be? Like, what do you like to show off about Lancaster?
So, I mean, everyone has to see Lancaster Central Market. That's,
okay.
Of course, you have to take everyone there. Yeah. And yeah, I don't know. I would say it's just I usually introduce them to whatever is my favorite restaurant at the time because that's how I connect over food.
Yep. Well, that's awesome. Thanks for playing along with the Connection Cocktail.
Sure.
This has been fantastic getting to know you, learning about Lancaster Homegirl, how that got started. And I think your Money Girl efforts are just awesome. I'd encourage everybody to go to, what is your website? ChristinaDiehl.com/moneygirl, right? Or just ChristinaDiehl.com.
They'll find it. They just go to ChristinaDiehl.com.
That's awesome. Definitely request a chapter of the book. Go buy the book. I'm going to do that after this show and give it to my newly teenage daughter.
Awesome.
I definitely want her to get started on the right foot from a financial standpoint. And, don't spend all your money on candy. That's not what you should do with your money. So
kids don't know that unless you tell them.
That's right. That's right. And who better to tell them than Christina Diehl? So thanks so much. Thanks for being a guest on Lancaster Connects. And
thank you.
We'll see you around.
All right.
Well, that was awesome. I really hope that people visit her site and get the book. Like I said, I will be doing that, and I'd love to see her in front of high schools. She mentioned she's talking to a youth group. There's so many organizations like that who work with young kids who can use that information. And I think we've all made mistakes with money, financial decisions. And I haven't read Christina's book yet, but I know the lessons that she's teaching in there would have helped me 20, 25 years ago, and friends and other people that we know. So super, super important and very cool thing that she's doing. She's just sharing her life lessons. So I think that's really, really cool. Just a reminder, we do prizes on the show. We've got a ton of comments. There's Amy. Yes, Christina did share some great information. Thanks as always for watching and tuning in. Our gifts, some Less Snore, More Cuddle swag, a tumbler and a Hydro Flask, or a $25 restaurant gift card. I don't have a restaurant gift card for the 2 that she mentioned, but they sound awesome. But there are plenty of other $25 restaurant gift cards that you have. Enter the contest. All you do is share a comment, and we'll spin the prize a later wheel at the end of the show. Just a couple things to wrap up. Mr. Jeff here in the Sleep Better book. I'm not going to read a sleep tip out of there, but I'll share one. I just went to the beach last week. Went to Cape May, as I always do with family and in-laws. Great week, great weather. Bed was okay. It wasn't my, adjustable bed with a full latex mattress on top. So it wasn't as comfy and as conforming to my sleep needs as I would have liked, but it was an adequate bed. But it was made better because I brought my pillow. So that's my Sleep Better tip. Definitely, if you're traveling and can do it, take your pillow. You might not be able to if you're going on a plane trip, and if you could stuff a pillow in there, great. But you might not be able to stuff a pillow in your suitcase. But we took a car, and all the kids and my wife and I, we took our pillows. And it's like when I make a packing list for the stuff that I need to pack for a trip, like the pillows are always first on the list. Got to take my pillow because, a pillow is 25% of your sleep surface, and it supports kind of an important part of your body, your head, neck, shoulders. And the wrong pillow can blow a vacation up or a trip up. I know from personal experience years ago, always try to travel with my pillow if I can. So that's a Sleep Better tip. There's plenty more tips that you can get in our book, Sleep Better, and you can get it at gardnersmattressandmore.com/sleepbetter. Download or request your free copy. We'll mail it to you in your mailbox. It'll show up. Also have a testimonial for Gardner's Mattress and More. Let me pull it up here. I mentioned earlier in the show that we had a busy couple weeks. We did a tent event where we got rid of a bunch of clearance and closeout merchandise. And our crew had a lot of extra work related to that. And we just got done that and went into this painting project for the last 2 weeks. You see Drew there in the background. I think he's worked 13 days straight. And he's in line for a couple of days off here the next couple of days. But I just wanted to give a shout out to Drew, and our team in general, but Drew specifically. We kind of dealt with some illnesses, and again, this paint project, he put in a ton of work to see this through. And of course, I was on vacation last week, and Drew kind of kept the boat afloat, if you will. So he got a shout out on Google a couple weeks ago. A customer said they had a great experience with Drew to find a new mattress and adjustable bed base. He sat down with us to figure out what we were looking for, making good suggestions and educating us on aspects of the industry and products we did not know. So he was a wealth of information to our customer. He was very personable and zero pressure. I highly recommend Gardners for your next bed. So that's a little bit about what we do at Gardners. Obviously, like I mentioned at the beginning of the show, there were probably hundreds. One time we counted, it was like 137 places you could buy a mattress in Lancaster County. That was years ago. But we try to separate ourselves in terms of product and service and experience, and of course, education and knowledge. And we're our customers are not just a number. And we do get a lot of our customers from word of mouth and reviews, testimonials. We've got these books that are handwritten, full of handwritten testimony. That's a huge part of our business, and it's why we get the reviews that we get. And so always try to educate first, and of course the goal is to help you sleep better and wake up happy every morning. So that's pretty much the show. We've got to give away our prize, and we'll do that now. And I can let Drew get back to, he's giving his presentation there in the background. Like I said, we're in a new spot in the showroom. So eventually we'll be getting our own little room here. We've invested a ton. Oh, all right. Mario's our winner. Mario is a friend from New Jersey who tuned in. I don't know if he tuned in for the first time, but I think it was his first couple comments here. So Mario, if you'd like to make the trip to Lancaster, I know you're just beyond the border across from Philadelphia. Mario has a business where he sells decking and railing. It's called Great Railing. Awesome values. Don't shop at Home Depot or Lowe's for your deck products. Get it from Mario and Great Railing. He does a fantastic job. So Mario, thanks for tuning in and thanks for commenting. I think that's a wrap. We've got a great guest next week, Tim Keller from Tenfold and their related organizations. They've got an event coming up in September, and we're going to talk to them, Tim and them. There's multiple people, I think, joining us about what that event is and how that impacts the Lancaster community. Thanks to everybody who commented. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching. And thank you, Chris. If you would like to be a guest on the show, Lancaster Connects, let us know. If you have a story to share, if you're a business owner or work in a business that are making an impact in the community, just like Christina is making an impact with young women with her book, and you'd like to be highlighted on Lancaster Connects, let us know. Go to lancasterconnects.com/guest. Nonprofits, charitable organizations are fantastic guests for us. So we'd love to have you on. So I think we're booked up through August and into September, but definitely planning out some dates in the fall for guests for Lancaster Connect. So I think that's it. Jeff will be back next week, but we'll be in our new location here in the showroom. Like I said before, if you want to see our renovated showroom, come on in. We've still got some work to do. We got some things to put on the walls, but the paint looks amazing. You'll just have to take my word for it. So that's a wrap. Have a great afternoon and a great week, Lancaster. See you.